The thing that happens in the course of the spiritual path is that people don't realize how important certain moments are in our ability to transition from one state to another. When we awaken spiritually, we awaken to a purpose beyond our human ego's purpose. We awaken to a possibility. It's an experiential event or an awareness event that gives us a glimmer of a different way of being. And from that, by aligning with that opportunity or that possibility, we begin to open in us something that sets in motion not only the expansion of that opportunity, but also that which is in the way. And in the course of this dimension, because you are a person in space and time and causality, there comes critical junctures, moments where the opportunity is seeking to manifest amidst the resistance and the obstacles and the struggles that inevitably become accelerated when you determinately organize yourself with the opportunity of the unfolding of your own spiritual awakening and awakenings. So these moments occur in space and time. They're usually a coming together of the forces that support and resist our intent. Remember, an intent is fundamental. Intent, you may not even know you're living. An intent is the purposeful organization of this life. That is the fruit of all the lives you've lived. You may not know your intent, as you often in this time of distraction may not know your purpose either. But it is living you, struggling to manifest. It is a moment that when we align with it, we're more alive, we're more connected, we're more true to ourselves, more true in our ability to see where we keep defeating ourselves, where we keep getting overtaken, where we commit ourselves. We consecrate, we concentrate what we make important by making other things less important and that more important. In the course of the human life, if things are too easy, then we don't develop our ability to come to moments of crisis. Rather, we go sideways. We go, instead of meeting the tipping points, we divert ourselves. We either go into denial or bypass or strategies that make us feel better, and we don't know that these tipping points are here and what they mean. So contextually, understanding that in space and time, as a human being or a spiritual being, there are moments in time, a day, an hour, a month, a year or more, where you are in a transitional zone. Recognizing that is only possible if you can understand, if you have a context for what life is really about. So tipping points are really times of struggle and crisis where you feel overtaken or diminished, depressed, despair, exhausted. They are evidenced by the dejection, and the dejection includes all those terms. It is an unfolding. I know for me it was a whole period of time that became focused for about 3 months, where it was impossible for me to be with anybody or to be with myself. And that was 1997, just before January 4th, 1998. I didn't know what it was, but I knew that I had to keep showing up and not change anything. I somehow knew that. I knew that I just needed to endure calmly. I had to stay steady. So tipping points are always evidenced by these kinds of periods of time. The Dharma has just gone through one. And one of the things that happens about this is it's a very clear process that I hold, that I recognize, but even then, it overtook me. And that process, however, has reminded me again how important it is to know what your purpose is, to have organized your life aligned with that purpose enough so that when the tipping point comes, you have a momentum that can take you to the struggles and the obstacles that would prevent you otherwise from transitioning into that possibility, that new consciousness that tipping points are always pointing to. So the holding steady, the enduring calmly, is something you become aware of. You become aware of that just happiness and light and connection to the world is not the way through or to meet a tipping point. If you have that available to you, then you go off into your mantras. You go to a new ashram. You change your teacher. Anything but to meet what's arising in you at that moment. But few have the capacity to even intellectually understand what it means to be alive in a body at this time. What it means personally, what it means for how you live, for how you organize yourself. Because otherwise you'll do like everyone else. They live for themselves. They marry the person they want. They expect the person to give them what they want. They expect the world, when they do things, to give them what they want. Do you live for yourself? You just keep burying yourself in the obscurity of the unlived life, believing that this is how everybody else do it, no problem. I'm happy, I'll stay happy, nobody bother me. Nothing should bother me. I'll take a medication if it gets uncomfortable. I'll drink a little more. I'll go find a girlfriend or a boyfriend. No. See, the invitation of my work is to invite you to know the truth of yourself, to know the purpose of your existence, and to make a determinate resolve to come into a new relationship than the self-serving one. You'll never find happiness. You'll have cycles of happiness, and then the consequence, and then the suffering, and then consequence, happiness. It happens inevitably in nature, but you will waste your whole life going through that cycle. It doesn't break out of the cycle. It simply is a different version of a cycle. You go in and into your darkness, or you come out into a period of expansion, and then you're pulled back into your darkness, and then another period of expansion, and that's the ocean of samsara. As the waves come and they take you up and they take you down. So the recognition of the fact that your life matters is foundational to your ability to traverse this territory. That you matter. That the decisions you make matter. And that the consequences of your choices is a evolutionary learning of how much you matter and the difference you make for good or for ill. If you can be aware of your purpose. Otherwise, you'll just do what everybody else do. Blames everybody else, projects onto other people, whatever it is that they haven't yet met. It's inevitable. In this context, very, very few can know the purpose of their lives and live aligned with that. Sometimes necessity handles it. You're in war. You're in deprivation. You can't breathe the air because California is burning. These are things that we rise up and they put us in touch with an uncomfortable relationship with existence because we have not yet met something, seen something. So what happens when we're intervening in our lives, intervening in the natural karmic cycles of existence, sattva, rajas, and tamas? Is we start creating new possibilities for ourselves. When you challenge yourself, and you can stay steady with that challenge, you develop qualities you didn't have before the challenge. This is in the human life, and it's the same in the spiritual life. A lot of people think the spiritual path is an escape hatch, or a back door to get out of responsibility for being alive and being on this planet in this time. Sorry, not so easy. How to organize our lives purposefully is the most satisfying and meaningful life to live. a consecrated life, is the invitation of this work, is to organize yourself to live purposefully, not for yourself, but to become more and more capable, effective, worthy of being useful in this time of transition. That's my message. This is not a path. There's so many other spiritual teachers that will bring you some sort of harmony and balance and healing. And there's perfectly no objection to that occurring on this path, but this path is one about you, individually, and your capacity to make an action, to choose. Developing that capacity empowers you. It strengthens your ability to know the truth of your what you are and your capabilities of who you are. They go together. You become clearer. You become more effective. You become more capable of handling things other people couldn't handle. You learn to hold more rather than have to have it a certain way. You break out of the box of yourself and how you should be, or you think you should be, or how you want it. And you start discovering possibilities for being that in the process awakens in you your own sense of your magnificence, of the truth of the what's sacred within you, what the possibility of life is, and that you're here for it. And then everything like depression and dejection and despair are passing clouds in a movement towards that greater possibility of knowing yourself. But in the process, it's you knowing yourself as you serve greater and greater others, as you become more capable. Then that gives you the strength so that even when all the forces can overtake what's left in your system or the current cycle, guna cycle you're in, and you feel incapable or defeated or diminished, can't stop the momentum of the unfolding of that particular transitional point.